on an assembly line, what we're really doing is putting in hundreds of hours into the people on the streets who need us. And they need us in a way that none of us will ever understand. And for the last couple of weeks, I've been on the grounds every day. They know we're coming today, they know we're coming tomorrow, and they look forward to seeing us because we're the one little bit of hope that they have a warm meal in their bellies and to know that somebody in the world is actually caring for them and loving them. And without people like you showing up today to give your time, your energy, and your spirit, none of this is possible. So I want to really say thank you to everyone, because what we're doing here today may seem small, but it's actually really, really big, and it's impacting hundreds and thousands of families. So I thank you, I love you, I look forward to doing this with you today. My name is Serena Bufalino, and I am the founder of Help Heal Humanity. Help Heal Humanity is a charity that is focused on unconditional giving, love, and support to some of the most vulnerable communities in the world.
Hello.
Hi, Barbara. How are you?
I'm doing great now. I get to talk to the queen that I haven't really spoke to in a while. I feel like it's been forever when I don't talk to you like on a other day-to-day basis.
I know. That's the way I felt. It's literally been a week, but it feels like forever.
I know, because I'm so used to, seeing your texts or, we're emailing or we're just talking. And I was like, dang, I really miss Serena right now. Where is she at?
Yeah, I had a rough week, so I'm excited to be here.
I seen, yep, and I see that you ended. I mean, not ended, but I know you were doing your teaching, and that was the last day today or something.
Today was the last day of school, and then like tomorrow I jump on the plane and get ready for summer school. So there's like no break, but all good stuff. So thank you.
Oh yeah, you're going to Baltimore, right?
Yes.
Yes.
For our Help Heal Humanity summer school program, which is so exciting because we've been talking about this for a long time. We've been planning for like 7 months. So it's finally time. We met all the girls yesterday and the facilitator. So I'm quite excited about it, but I just feel like I just need to get there, have a good night's sleep, and then go for it.
Yes, you definitely need. You just work. So I mean, you know that's what angels do. They fly around. They just do all this work, but they need rest too. Their wings need rest. So you need a little rest, just a
And
little bit, right? Right, just a little bit here. But
yeah,
yeah, so I'm so glad that that's happening now because I know you have been planning for a long time with the summer school. So I know they're gonna love it, and they're gonna love seeing you in there in person. And that's gonna be awesome. That's gonna be awesome. So
yeah.
I wanted Serena tonight. I was gonna, because we have our, like I said, I always tell people we got one side where we talk about either we have somebody from Help Heal Humanity, volunteer, board member, whatever, or we do what we call educational moments. Those educational moments.
Teachable moments.
Teachable moments, yes. And before, remember, I told people, I said, I left you hanging. I was like, oh no, I can't do this by myself. I was like, what am I doing? So from now on, the teachable moments, you'll see myself and Serena, because she knows much more better than I do. I kind of just put stuff together and say, okay, here we go, let's do this. And then she just kind of just, flows at it. And I come in when I can. But, I know last week we were talking about, we could just screen up in a minute here. Last week we were talking about basically, like board members, volunteers to come into your nonprofit. So I'm going to backtrack a little bit because, like I said, the part that I talked about regarding, understanding what, when you first start out and everything, we didn't get into too much detail because, like I said, I was doing it on my own. So I'm going to pull the slide up while I'm doing that. Here we go. Let's see. I wanted to get into step 2 into step 3, just a little bit
Yeah.
more detail. So step 1 was, why do we need a nonprofit? So I know you talked about that with your own experience, which was very helpful and very interesting, because if you haven't heard Serena's story, everybody, you need to go back to the other because it was powerful why she started. And then we kind of went to a little bit, we kind of glanced this over just a little bit, but I want to kind of just dig a little deeper since we're doing these teachable moments and talk about, when you're establishing the nonprofit, like, what's your basically what the population, what demographics and stuff like that. So I want you to kind of maneuver in that, Serena, like when you did start HHH, were you thinking, I mean, because I know you live in Canada, but at that time, did you kind of just start say, okay, this is going to be here, and then kind of like a vision to say, I'm going to, do more?
You know what? No, I'm like just one of those people who just like don't know how it's gonna happen, don't have like the solid plan, but just know I want to do it. And then I start taking the little steps and then it starts to form. So I don't usually do things the traditional way. But again, no, I had no idea. Like I knew because I was in education and the Haiti school building project kind of started in my classroom with my students. So then it was kind of an extension of my classroom, my background in education, and then after the 2010 earthquake in Haiti, building a school for the children there. And again, because I've always had the heart and the desire to serve kind of like the underdog or those experiencing mental health or learning disabilities, again, it just kind of went to the next level once being in Haiti, and then really really opening up my eyes to the injustices in the world. And again, I think if I always say this, and I think it's all a matter of heart and passion, right?
Mhm.
Because at the end of the day, if you really believe and you really know and you really trust that what you're doing is making a difference and it's not really about you and it's about the impact, you just keep going, right? And I mean, I like I said, from day one, even till today, people are like, why do you do that? Or like, you're crazy, or, or
Mhm.
again, when we were first, fundraising just for Haiti, then it was like, well, why aren't we fundraising for Canada? Why aren't we fundraising for the US? So it's like you learn as you go, you see what's important, what's not, and you kind of base it based on that. So, did I ever foresee, coming into a charity? No, but we do know for sure at Help Heal Humanity, our primary focus is education and nourishment. And we had to keep it like that because I mean, we have people from all over the world always messaging us, we need help, or, again, with war happening in Europe or certain things happening in different parts of the world. And a lot of people reach out to us to help. I wish we could help everybody. We're not at that point. So we have to stay focused at what we are good at and at least excel at what we're good at. And then hopefully we build the trust, we get the funding, and then, we can go from there. But
I like how you said, Serena. I mean, but I didn't even cut you off, but I was going to catch you on this one. I like how you said when you said you can't do everything. And I think sometimes what people, and I did this myself, so that's why I'm kind of reverting to me a long, long time ago before I got smarter in this and people straightened me out. It's like, Barbara, when you have a nonprofit, it's not like it's the be all of everything. Like, okay, you have a nonprofit, so you're going to help the whole world and everything that they do and every, whatever need it is, that's you. And that's why there's so many different nonprofit organizations and so many of them do different things.
yeah.
So that's something that I learned too when I was researching that, you could have a nonprofit just for that one particular, like really niche. Then you could have a nonprofit that's a little bit more broader. So I was going to, ask you to kind of go into that because some people don't really understand it. They just think that, okay, I'm supposed to do everything because I'm a nonprofit. I'm supposed to help the world like that. And I'm like, no, sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, in the beginning too, I mean, even now, like, again, I think I'm slightly lucky because I started as a teacher and a special education specialist, and my programming right from the beginning was life skills and social skills. So I've always kind of been around those communities that are needing, extra help, extra support, needing meals in their belly, needing, shelter, needing tents. And it's always been my desire to help and serve. And then when the charity kind of formed in the first year, I was just so excited and I didn't want to help everybody. And I was like, yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll do this. Yeah, we'll do this. And again, this is where your board comes into place. And, the board is like, what are we doing? Like, are we just going to help everybody? And it's like, well, yeah, why? What's wrong with that? But then you do realize, like, and even now, it's, how big do you want to get? How much of an impact do you want to do? Are you going to pay your employees? Are you not? How do you make it sustainable? So you have to start asking yourself all of those questions. And in asking those questions, that's when we said, okay, we're a volunteer-based charity. We're going to stay focused on the education. And then, the nourishment piece came in when we realizing that, our local communities and our global communities are starving. And sometimes we are the only person or the only charity that they see. So on top of educating, we have to at least give people meals to survive. And again, it's even now it's not easy. I mean, like, look at what's happening in the world, and there's so many different charities to give to, and there's so many different causes. And so, we do focus on education, but again, we still always are trying to look out for, those communities that I say that, yes, Canada's hurting. Yes, the USA is hurting. Yes, parts of Europe are hurting and beyond, which I haven't even seen some of these places in the world. But when you go to places where there's not even electricity in the country, and like 90% of the country is without electricity, without basic human rights, without water, like just basic water and electricity, then it's like, I understand we need to make a difference. But, even in Canada and the US and these other places, people can go inside a clean shelter. People can go get a meal to eat. People can go and have a shower. And some of the places that we serve are the most vulnerable places in the world. The places that don't have these kind of access to these shelters, to government funding, to again, electricity, to groceries, to employment. And so that's and that's kind of our niche, is to go into these areas and do our thing in those areas. So you do have to start to figure out who your clientele is, because you can't do it all. And as we see in this show, Barbara, having nonprofits on the second half of the show, we've seen people who have specialized, like, again, in just the brassieres and the bras. We've seen people specialize specifically with female young adults between a certain age. If you in most of the Western world, once you get 18 to 21, if you're in that kind of system of needing help, needing assistance, 18 to 21 is a very tricky age, because government will support you as, a youngin' and as a teenager. And then, They'll stop supporting you at 18, and then at 21 they'll start to serve you as an adult. But what happens with those years? So
Wow.
we've seen charities that are focused specifically on those years, and that's what it is. People, whatever you're passionate about, everybody has a different passion. Some is, like our friend Gordon Jagger, to take food that people, restaurants, big corporations would throw away and take it out and put it back into the streets in meal production. So I think whatever you're born with, whatever your spirit, some people are athletes, right? And some people want to give back to athletes. Some want to do musicians. Whatever your passion is and wherever your niche is, there's people who need help all over the world.
And I think just to add all that, like you said, because you really, just like what we were talking about last time, you have to dig deep in what is the passion that's steering you to who you want to help. And that will kind of direct you in what kind of nonprofit that you're thinking about starting up. And like you said, we can't help everybody, I mean. And when you try to help everybody, to me, you're still not getting the need done, because now you're trying to help everybody and you're trying to get all this done. And you're like, okay, how do I get this? How do I get that? Well, why don't you niche it down right now and try to help at least this group of people, like you said with Haiti, and let's help with that. I'm just using an example. And then, okay, then you can start seeing how that works, and then start little by little reaching out to the other person that you want to probably reach out to.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And again, it's do one thing, do it well. I mean, for me, even I just said today, was the last day of school and graduation, and all of that is amazing. And, we joke around because, of course, even when I, met the students that I'm going to be meeting in person next week for a summer school program, I have a lot of energy. I'm super outgoing. I could be super silly, I could be so immature where I could be more mature than the students, and they like that, right? There was a little joke. They did a little protest about me not going back to school, and then the teachers came together and did a little skit about me and like how funny the semester was because of just the silliness that I bring to the table. And and that is because sometimes people just need to smile. People just need to forget about their problems. And I always say I'm an academic. I'm a teacher who doesn't believe in academics, because that's the other thing. We do service, we do bring education, but the main thing is we want to bring a different kind of learner in the world. We want to focus on the life skills, the social skills, the mental health, the coping strategies, what are your strengths? What are your weaknesses? What are your triggers? What are your coping strategies? And so if we can start to really focus on the social emotional parts of a human in an academic sense, then that's what HHH could be known for, is that offering that type of an education, which again is an example of our summer school. This summer school program is based on service work. It's based on leadership skills. It's not curriculum based stuff. So, that's us more and more figuring out who we are as a charity and what we want to be known for and how to bring that into the world. And I just always say, take the first step.
Yes, take the first step.
Because even if that first step is a failure and you're not afraid of failures, it's going to start to put you in the direction of what is the right step, So just go for it.
Let's go for it. Yeah. So I want to get a little bit, let me go to the next, just want to make sure. Okay. So building that foundation. So this is, I know some people ask me, oh, Barb, this sounds like that corporate world where you're building a business. Well, technically you are. It's just a nonprofit one. It's the same technique, a different flavor of it. But yeah, you have to know, that building that foundation. Because as I always tell people, I use the example all the time about the building. People building a building, you got to set that foundation, because if you don't, if it's sand or whatever, it's going to sink. So you have to make sure you're building that. So I think in a nonprofit, I wanted to talk about a little bit about that. The first thing that when I found out about this is really nice, because I always say this too, clarity. You want to be clear. And I know at the beginning, like you said, and I love how you always say, because it just, every time you say this, Serena, when you first start, you like, I just want to help everybody. I just want to do this. I don't want to think about all this other stuff. Let's just help people. Help, because you need, there's a need, right? And then they were like, okay, Serena, we love you and everything, but we need to get this thing in motion and set that foundation. So when you finally got to that point, it's like, okay, let's do this. Choosing a name, identifying, like you said, identifying the problem. So did you start, slowly, because like I said, I know you did it kind of around the other way, figuring out all that. How did you kind of just sit back and say, okay, now we got to do this. Let's talk about these things.
Well, I think that's it is, we had to get pretty clear about what we wanted to do in the world. And again, I've always known that if we were going to be that, if out of all the different things that we were doing, I was like, no, it's got to be the education piece. It's got to be the education piece. And then even going back to the education piece is trying to do the life skills and the social skills. So it's redefining as you go as well. Haiti is a country where, we have started our roots. It's our foundation. And in doing so, you also listen to the needs and the wants of the people. Right. So again, it's always not about you. It's about the people that you're serving and the people that you're helping. So if you come in with the whole agenda, I wouldn't say that that's the best plan. You have your idea, you have your visions, but until you hear the people, until you meet the community, and until you know what the needs are actually wanted by the people and for the people, you have to be ready to be able to do that for them. And so, like I said, we've had people calling us for a lot of things, but we've had to say no because we just want to focus first specifically on our, maintaining our school that we built in Haiti, maintaining our programs in Haiti. And then again, those things like, again, this summer, there was a massive earthquake in Haiti. And so we said, you know what? Yeah, let's go do it. Let's go and be that response team on the grounds helping the people. But again, was emergency relief part of, what we were doing in our charity? No. Is emergency relief what we do for countries around the world? No. But because we know how bad of a situation Haiti is, and we know that at that time, even of the earthquake, there was nobody on the grounds helping. So we collected the donations, and part of what I want HHH to be known for, and I think we all do, is the integrity of our hearts. We are not getting a paycheck to do this. So if you're going to donate to Haiti relief, we are going to take those funds. We're going to send them to our bank account in Haiti. We're going to go to Haiti with our Haitian population, and we're going to go and help the people. We're not going to put the money in other people's hands. We're not going to it's not even trust. It's just integrity. It's honesty. It's authenticity. We are on the grounds, and you could see us on the grounds making the difference from the donations that you are bringing. And so that's what it is. When the people were donating to emergency relief, I stayed out there longer until the funds kind of ran out. And so we do what is needed, but we still stay focused on either our particular country or our project.
Well, what I really love, and this is what really drew me to HHH, not just, you were the first. Okay, I'm just going to admit that. Meeting you and us having that conversation and just seeing the, connection we had of just, just that, like you said, we just had that energy about each other. The other thing that I love when you said, and everybody would say, not just you, we're on the grounds. We make sure that the money, whatever's being given, time, money, is going towards what we're doing under HHH. And I seen it. It wasn't just like talk or, you hear it from somebody else like, oh, okay, they take the money. Okay, fine. It was basic. You were making sure that people are seeing this through video, through pictures, through word of mouth, through people talking, people with you out there doing it in Hades and stuff. And I think that's really, I'm saying all that because it's important. If anybody's thinking about building a foundation, you want to make sure your integrity is there. You need to make sure, because that's like the biggest thing if you want people to start helping you and give.
Yeah, it is. And being very transparent, I wish we were bringing in $1 million a year. Maybe we can manifest that. But, whatever funds we do bring in. And, it's funny, Barbara, I think, you've participated in some of our conversations where, we're saying we're 100% volunteer based, but we give an honorarium to some of the people out in Haiti for doing the work that they're doing. They're literally putting their life on their line. Yes. We're not giving them salaries. we're giving them money for gas to get to where they need to be. We're giving them a little bit of money for food. And, and then it brought up the question is, are we 100% volunteer based or not? And it's like, so then now we're going to say we're, 95% base volunteer, because again, we are giving $200 honorariums to guys who should be actually be getting paid like $2,000 a month. To me, it still doesn't seem like we're giving a salary. No, we're just making sure that they can get to and from the project and do the work that they need to do. When we start giving salaries, then I think, we can start to say that, maybe 70% of our profits go to projects. But at this present moment, with the exception of like $200 a month, that again is not a salary, we are now 96% volunteer based, and then again, that's just coming down to the extreme nitty gritty and being like 100% transparent. And again, this comes from board members, and anyone who is part of a board, the CEO, the executive director, it doesn't matter. Okay, maybe I'm the executive director and people will come to me for a final, sign off. But at the end of the day, the board is running the charity, and it's, every decision is based on a vote. And whatever that vote is, you go, whether you believe in it or you don't, you go with the decision of the vote and you move in that direction. And that's just the way it is, right? That's the way it is. So,
So because that's why I said I love about that. But, being transparent, like you said, Serena, and this is going back to just thinking, and people, just as common sense. I'm just going to put it out there. When you're running a business, you're like you said, with a nonprofit, you're out there helping, people, education, like you said, nutrition, but it takes work, and there's going to be an expense. There's going to be an expense. I mean, you can't get away from not paying something. I mean, you got to pay for, you got to do your taxes. You got to get somebody to make sure that's being done. You got to make sure all that is, legal stuff is done. You have to make sure that people are in a different country. Like you said, you got to pay certain people to make sure that they can do what they have to do to get around even. So it's not going to be like, oh, we don't, and if some people think that way, then they're not thinking of business wise. It's like, there's something you just have to pay.
You have to, it's without a doubt. But are any of our board of directors, our working bodies, anybody in Canada and the US getting paid? Absolutely not. Are the people who are running our program, like the teachers, the directors, that, yes, but those are in the project countries. And again, I keep laughing because even you, Barbara, you're like, it's like a business. It's like a business. I've never owned a business, so I don't know the business model, right? I mean, I've been learning as I go along.
Yeah, and I say that because sometimes people look at a non-for-profit as why all of a sudden they have to make some money and why they got to pay out whatever, and that's why I say that, I express that, because there is things you have to pay out. There is things that you have to do to get things done to make sure that you are helping the people. So that's why I mentioned sometimes to kind of give like a, scenario.
Well, it's impossible not to. If you want to have a website, you need to host a website, and we've had, and we just had a big university in Canada do a big review on us, and when I was like, trust me, we are hustlers. Like, we are hustlers for humanity. We have people like beautiful Barbara and E360 TV who are allowing us to do a podcast. Our marketing budget might only be $2,000 a month, but we had one of the biggest, international branding people in the world, Jam3 brand, help heal humanity, and they put over $60,000-$70,000 into branding our charity, and they did it pro bono. Right. So, like, again, we've had a couple billboards donated again by one of our board of directors who was working for a company called Ormans. So, we are around good people. And I think that's, eventually that will become hopefully what we're known for is the people believe in us. So whatever the people are professional in, and they know that we don't have the money, they will come in and they will help us. And so, like, thank God for all those amazing people who have all those talents and all those resources and do contact us and do give that to us, because without that, I don't even think we could be where we are today. Right. And that's why, again, if you don't have the heart and the passion, charity work should not be the direction.
What you said, that should not kind of even be in your wheelhouse. It's like, leave that for everybody has their own, spot of where they should be. So, but Serena, thank you so much for going over that. Next week, we're gonna have one of the guests at the beginning from HH, either volunteer. I forgot they're a volunteer or just a board member, but I'm working on that because they're just working on their time, and we're gonna have them come next week. But then Thursday after that, we're going to go more little detail about the business plan, because as I said, you have to have a plan at foundation, and we're going to get a little bit more detail in that. I've been getting questions. This is awesome, because I've been getting questions after the show, Serena, about, they said they love the teachable moments, and some of them are really now thinking more about planning out a nonprofit that they were thinking it was just like all in their head, like, who can I help? And what's my passion? And they said with you talking through things, they're making it ease. They said they're making it more of ease.
You know what? That's the other thing that I always say is, like, the charity world is very competitive. We've had people come to our charity. I've had people in Spain and in other parts of the world who are like, I'm going to join your charity and I'm going to be your right hand man or woman for the next year. And I want to learn everything from you. And then I'm going to leave you and go and start my own charity. And some people say something to me about, like, as if it's a negative thing. And for me, I'm like, listen, if we are giving people skills and tools and resources to go off and go and make a difference in their own way, then that's a game. That's a yes. Like, we're not competing, and everybody who's going to make the world better, and if they learned from us on how to do that, then we did a great job. So I'm happy we can help people.
You're birthing nonprofits. You're birthing them out there, Serena. So now we're talking about other nonprofits. We're going to go right into our second part of where we bring, we shine a light on other nonprofits, because we said that if we can help that connection, we want to do that with the show. So we have a wonderful, and it seemed like when I meet other people and I start telling them, you have any nonprofits? And they're like, oh yeah, I got this friend. So Carolyn Henderson, I got to give her credit. She sent me this wonderful, wonderful person. His name, and I hope I say his name right, because I always have his names. I think it's Rennie Gabriel. And he is over a shelter to soldiers. They're rescue dogs and train them as service animals for soldiers who have returned with PTSD and TBI, saving 2 lives at a time. And I see this is what we're talking about, the niches and really helping out. You would never think, sometimes you never think of these kind of nonprofits until they come. And that's why I love these spotlight, because you're like, wow. So we're going to
I love them. I love learning about the charities, and already, like, as soon as you give the title, I feel like I already know what I want to say to these people.
Well, hold that thought for a minute. Before I know he's waiting in the wings. Let's do our sponsors, and then we'll bring them right on.
Yes.
Here we go.
When you do nothing, nothing happens. Best time to take action is now. This is the time to work on you and your business. So I've created a group, an online academy for professionals and entrepreneurs. Power Partners will help you to start helping yourself.
Helped me change my life and my business.
Not a Toastmasters, it's not a BNI, it's not any of these, but it is. So it's all this stuff in one place.
Get the results that you deserve right now. So what are you waiting for? Let's make it happen. See you in Power Partners.
Okay, so we have our wonderful guest. How you doing this evening?
I'm doing great.
Okay, I was going to say, I thought you could hear us. I know technology sometimes gets away.
Can you hear us okay? Yeah, I hear you fine. Can you hear me at all?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Okay, good. Then my mic's working.
Yes, technology is the key. So how you doing this? Thank you. So first of all, thank you so much for coming on the Help Humanity show to spotlight your wonderful organization. Now, is it Rennie?
No, if you can say Kenny, then you can say Rennie.
Rennie. Okay, wonderful. Because I didn't want to mess that up anymore. Rennie. Okay, Kenny Rennie. Yes.
Thank you, Barbara.
Thank you so much. Now, I know Serena. I sometimes think like with Serena's brain, because I know she likes to ask a lot of questions, because we get really in detail when we bring the nonprofits, because it's just so surprising and wonderful of the things that other nonprofits do. So we want to ask you, Rennie, that before it's called Shelter to Soldiers, right?
No, it's singular. Shelter to soldier. A dog from the shelter to a soldier that suffers from traumatic brain injuries or post-traumatic stress disorder who might otherwise commit suicide. And
Wow.
the dogs are rescued from environments where they could have been euthanized. So every donation is saving 2 lives at a time.
Wow, that is amazing. So can you get a little bit more details? We always like to hear the backstory, just moving that curtain a little bit of how you just said, okay, I want to do this and help these soldiers with the dogs.
Well, it's the help that's coming from me is money. The organization was founded by Graham Bloom and his wife, Kyrie, and they're in the San Diego area. And Graham realized the level of connection that the soldiers who were deployed overseas, the kind of level of connection they had with a dog. Some of them brought a dog back from Afghanistan or Iraq, where the dog was just wandering wild and just kind of said, "Hi, love me, feed me." And, the attachments were tremendous. In seeing this, he recognized it could go farther. And when you look at what the suicide rate is among returning soldiers at almost 23 a day, or almost 1 an hour, it's a tremendous problem. And the Veterans Administration doesn't necessarily have all the resources to help these veterans in the way that they need their support. They may put them in group therapy and they won't talk because their anger issues are such that, let me go to a specific example. One of the first people who got his dog, his name was Vic. He did underwater demolition work until one of the explosives went wrong and created a traumatic brain injury. When he came home, he stuttered so badly, he couldn't even communicate with his wife and children. He's obviously depressed. He can't communicate with his family. He's homebound because there's no reason to go out. He can't talk to anybody. The issues were, he couldn't go into a grocery store, couldn't go into a department store, couldn't go to soccer games with his little girls until he got his service dog. And when I say service dog, I mean, this is not a dog that they pick up from the shelter and say, here's a companion. This is a dog that can open doors, turn on and turn off lights, bring things to him. More importantly, sense when he's having a meltdown and removes him from the environment. As an example, when he was in a department store one time with his wife, and he did have his dog with him by this time, he started having a panic attack. The dog sensed it and pulled him out of the department store, out into the parking area, until he could kind of regain himself. And he just waited there for his wife. When I met Vic, he'd had a service dog long enough that he had overcome the stuttering and was able to communicate. The level of his communication was such when he would talk about his experiences, talk about Shelter to Soldier, talk about his dog and his family. I was in a room with my wife, who is a realtor, and other real estate agents. There were probably about 40 or 50 of us. I would say a third of us were just crying. And the impact that he can make from being able to not even communicate, to speak at such an eloquent level and such a heartfelt level, the donations poured in. I personally wrote a check for $15,000 to support the full care of a dog, from the food, the training, the vet bills, housing the dog, housing the veteran while they're training the veteran with the dog. And it's none of this is covered by government donations. It's all personal, private donations. So I decided, from my business situation, what I was doing is training people how to handle money effectively. I've been doing it for close to 50 years. But this gave me a reason to do it when I no longer have to work for a living. So I donate 100% of the profits from the work I do to Shelter to Soldier, whether it's books, programs, coaching, it doesn't make any difference. I mean, I don't need the money. So I work to donate to not only Shelter to Soldier, but other animal and veteran charities.
Oh, you're their angel. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That
so
is
like
amazing.
I said, it's not my charity, but it touches my heart so deeply. I do a lot to support it. So far, between my wife and I, we've raised well over $100,000 for the charity. So that's 6 dogs saved, 6 veterans' lives saved.
I know. See,
Yeah,
I feel you on that. Oh, I'm sorry, Serena. Go ahead.
No.
Oh, I was just gonna say I feel you on there, Rennie, because I feel the same way about HHH. Is that I'm trying to, when I see money that I make, I just want to give it to HHH because I believe in them so much. So I know where you're saying and how you help, you believe them so much in what they're doing that you just say, okay, I'm just taking this money. I want to make sure that they're okay with that part of it.
Yeah, I mean, the advantage is the skills that I've learned that I teach other people provided complete financial choice to me. And so if I don't have to work for a living, then why am I working? And other animal charities, Shelter to Soldier, other veteran charities, that's the reason I continue working.
And I mean, as somebody who has, for myself, worked in mental health, my father experienced a traumatic brain injury, and I have worked with veterans. And so the post-traumatic stress disorder, the anxiety, like you said, the mood swings, the automatic trigger that is so quick that you don't even have a minute to actually be able to use a coping strategy, that having a service dog have that kind of wisdom and that emotional connection and the sensory for the human. And like you said, for the dog to be able to remove the human from situations that are harmful is completely life-changing. And then the fact that you're using rescue dogs and that whole training is happening, that is an absolute beautiful process, a beautiful process. And so I think, what you're doing again is transforming lives and animals, and that is just absolutely beautiful. So I mean, I when you believe in it, when you see it, when you live it, when you experience it, it's hard not to become addicted to wanting to help and wanting to get the message out there for other people to understand, this is a real thing and this is important, and this could actually be the game changer in helping people come back from wars, from these kind of situations. So I really commend the founders, and I commend people like you, Rennie, who come in and really make a difference for the charity. And now you said you've reached that point in your time in your life where you're not driven by money. So you have to be driven by purpose right now. And This is your purpose. And I think that that's absolutely beautiful. So thank you for sharing your story and your journey.
You're welcome. Sure. And one more thing that I'm going to share because of the connection that the animal has to the soldier. Kira, Vic's dog, ended up doing something it wasn't trained for. Meaning, Vic was experiencing night terrors. And Kira jumped up on the bed and would paw at his chest to wake him up from the night terrors, which is not something she was even trained for. That's how fabulous these dogs are, and the connection that ends up being created.
Say that connection.
And what does, like you said, what is the cost of being, the cost associated with something like taking the rescue dog? And, what is the amount of time and what is the process that is going through between connecting, training, and being brought together?
Because the training is so intense and so specific, it's over a year of training, generally a year and a half. And Also, the soldier has to be trained with how to work with their dog, that the dog that chooses the soldier it wants to work with. And then, they have to house the soldier during that training. And the cost is about $15,000. That covers the vet bills. It covers the food. It covers paying the other trainers. It covers housing the veteran while he's being trained with his dog. So, you're talking about an 18-month period. It's about $15,000. Now, if someone were to go out and buy a trained service animal, they're looking at a $25,000, $30,000, $40,000 cost.
Ooh.
However, when the VA certifies a soldier to be eligible to get a service dog, all they have is a piece of paper. They don't have any money.
Yeah.
Wow. See, that blows my mind right there. I would have never thought that. See, that just tells you more and more how the VAs needs this, needs help in a lot of areas, and the money's not being given to them.
Correct. I mean, the services are really inadequate for so many soldiers who've returned with various injuries. I mean, I've seen hospital situations where they've lost a limb or two limbs, and they go through the therapy and they're given artificial limbs and things of that nature. But when it comes to the emotional, psychological,
it really is. And just to go into that, this is another mind blowing. Whereas on your site, where like every 69 minutes, they're saying a U.S. vet is committing suicide.
Yes.
I mean, that's every hour of the day.
Yes. Well, I mean, if you could think of it from the standpoint of someone who's experienced the trauma of war and seeing people die, seeing maybe their comrades die, when they come back, they can't relate to the kind of stuff that we see anymore. They're still traumatized by that experience. I mean, that would traumatize anyone.
Yes.
I mean, I look at my experience during the Vietnam War, where I was in the Naval Reserve. I'm sitting on a ship at a table to eat food. I'm taking showers, where people I went to high school with are crawling through rice paddies and either coming home with a colostomy bag or in a body bag. And I look at how easy I had it.
Yeah.
Where people, put their lives on the line to defend this country, and some of them just don't come back. So, I mean, it's incumbent upon me to do as much as I can at this point.
And that's just the thing is, you become passionate and you end up doing something, but it is really sad, like you said, when these people are going out to fight for our countries and put their life on the lines, and we are where we are today because of them, and now we've neglected them.
Yes.
Like, when you start to learn about the realities of the world, and when you start to see what's really happening, I've never been in a war. I've seen a lot of really ugly things in the world, and that just makes it already hard for me to relate to people about their problems, let alone actually be that. You're being a leader, you're being the light, and then you're being totally disconnected and disregarded, and then you're at home and you're facing all of these issues and all of these problems, and you don't know what to do or where to turn. And again, that's a very sad reality. And then it's people like you and charities like this who make a difference, and that's why these messages are so important, and that's why this podcast, thanks to Barbara and E360 TV, is so impactful, because we get to just put these little tidbits of light into the real realities that are happening in the world. And we pray and we hope that people pay attention, that this is needed. And I know, I'll be honest with you, we run Help Heal Humanity, and a lot of people have contacted me like, what do you do about the animals? What do you do about the animals? And I'd like to say, like, I wish we could help and save everybody, but we can't. So it's always nice when the people who are the massive animal lovers who come to us, that we can tell them to go to your charity. So I know Barbara has, dedicated a 2-minute segment where I go off the camera and she goes off the camera. And so when that moment happens, I please want you to let the people know who you are and what you do. So, and I'm going to pay particular attention so that I'm already thinking of some people in mind about who need to connect to you and your charity in order to make those kind of donations and those acts of kindness happen.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And bless you, Barbara, for this platform. And you do say it's my charity, but it's not really mine. I'm just a sponsor of the
Yeah.
organization. But yeah, it is obviously near and dear to my heart.
Yeah. And see what I like about this too, and then we're gonna let you get 30 seconds to kind of just, share anything else you want to share with the audience. But when we find out the awareness, that's the biggest thing I always tell Serena when we're showing the other nonprofit is being aware. Half the nonprofit we're bringing on, I was like, oh my God. I said, now if I'm sitting there saying I didn't know there was a charity like this, or I didn't know they were helping these people, I didn't know this was even happening, then how many other people out there is like, I didn't know either. So this is why I'm loving about this. And then once you get the connection, you're aware of it. Then I tell people that I talk to, okay, now what's your excuse? Now that you know about the charity, you know what the need is. You know that people are giving money to this because there's no money here or there. What is an excuse now? It's open up your mind, and let's open up more your heart and see if you could help. If it's if it's drawn to you. And what I like about this with other charities together is, like Serena said, if she sees that there's us rescue dogs or whatever, and then we know you, and then we could talk to the charity there, and then we come together and help each other. So that to me, that's really important right now for all of us to do, is to collaborate together as well.
Thank
So
you,
wonderful.
Barbara. Again,
Yeah.
bless you for what you're doing.
Well, what we're gonna do, and you're my new friend now, so we're gonna come down for just 30 seconds and just really just give whatever else that you want to leave for the audience, and then let them know how they can contact you. And I'll also put the website down below as you're talking. So we'll be right back.
Hi, I'm Rennie Gabriel, and I donate 100% of the profits from my work supporting other people to handle money powerfully. It gets donated to a charity called Shelter to Soldier that rescues dogs from high-kill environments and trains them as service animals for soldiers who've returned with post-traumatic stress disorder or traumatic brain injuries. If you want to find out more about the charity, you can go to my website, wealthonanyincome.com. And if you put /TEDx, you'll see more information about Shelter to Soldier, and can even get a 9-step roadmap to show you how you can become philanthropic and donate to the causes that touch your heart. Thank you for this opportunity, and have a wonderful day.
Yay.
Awesome. So we always welcome our nonprofits that visit us again to come on, if you want to come on any other time, because there's always things going on. So the charity that you're, like you said, you're basically a sponsor for, if they have anything else coming up, any special things, we're here to support you all the time. And we'll bring you on the show because, again, to give that awareness to people. So thank
Terrific.
you so much.
I'll connect you with the founders.
Yes.
Yes, definitely. Please do. Please do. We would love to have them on.
Yeah.
That's my point.
Yes. The connection is real. That's wonderful. So with that, Serena, any other thoughts before we sign off for this evening?
No, I just want to say again, thank you to you, Rennie, and the good work that you're doing, because you say you're just donating, but without people like you, charities cannot run. So I don't know. I think I'm having a Wi-Fi moment.
Oh, the Wi-Fi moment.
Yeah, and the other thing is that the work I do is designed to raise philanthropists. It's not just about creating wealth or how to handle money well. It's about allowing people to handle money so they can also be philanthropic.
Definitely. In fact, we're gonna have to have a talk, because I was about to say, because I need to figure that one out.
I need your help. We need your help.
So
Great. We'll have a conversation.
Okay, well, thank you everybody for being part of the Help Heal Humanity show this evening. And we come on every Thursday night, 9:00 Eastern time. And again, we'll have another nonprofit next Thursday that we're spotlighting, and some teachable moments from myself and Serena. Have a nice evening. Oh, and happy 4th of July in the United States.
For the past 5 years, Help Heal Humanity has successfully run an elementary school in Canaan, Haiti. Due to COVID-19, the political unrest, and the recent earthquakes, food is scarce. The students attending our program are coming to school starving, and therefore causing a disruption in their academic goals. We need your help, now more than ever, to provide these students with the nourishment they need to continue their education. Our goal is to raise $100,000 so we can feed 100 kids lunch daily and send them to school in the upcoming year. Thank you for your support.
Today, over 1 billion children in the world live in poverty. At Help Heal Humanity, our goal is to connect children in need with people like you who want to make a difference. Our student sponsorship program helps provide children with the necessities for a healthy and successful start to life. When you sponsor a student, you're not only giving them the gift of education, you're giving them the best chance for a brighter future. 100% of your donation supports the tuition fees, uniforms, textbook, and school supplies needed to thrive in a safe and healthy learning environment. Sponsor a student now and be the catalyst for their brighter future.